In 2010, after 6 years of training and a further 6 years on the wards, I resigned from my job as a junior doctor. My parents still haven't forgiven me. Can I just clarify that I'm Asian, and if I did that, I'd probably get beheaded? I know that Adam K came from a strict Jewish family, but they are nothing compared to an Indian dad. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kiran. I'm a junior doctor and a comedian working in Manchester. As always, if you're new, make sure you're subscribed so you can join the team. Adam K released his book, This Is Going to Hurt, a few years ago, and it's become a bestseller and pretty much everyone knows about this book now. What I realized is that Adam K started practicing medicine over 15 years ago. So what I wanted to know is how much of this is real life? How much of this is actually what happens to doctors now, and how much has now become fiction and stuff of the past? So in today's video, we're going to be checking out This Is Going to Hurt. I'm going to be reading a couple of excerpts from it, and then I'm going to be talking about my experiences as a doctor and to see if they relate to these. All doctors are recommended to log their experiences in what's known as reflective practice. On looking through this portfolio for the first time in years, my reflective practice seemed to involve going up to my hospital on-call room and writing down anything remotely interesting that happened in the day. Like a medical Anne Frank, only with worse accommodation. So we still have to do these reflections. As part of my GP training, I have to do 3 reflections or case reviews every month. It's certainly got a lot less than what they used to do, but it is still a big part of medicine. It's about how you learn and grow as a doctor, but it does become a bit of a hindrance in terms of you have to keep thinking of things to write case reviews about. And so he's right, you write down pretty much everything. He also talked about the poor accommodation in on-call rooms. I think they spent a lot more time on call than we did in the hospital, but the doctor's mess, which is where the on-call doctors tend to hang out, is usually pretty much a mess. I was reminded of the brutal hours and the colossal impact that being a junior doctor had on my life. Reading back, it felt extreme and unreasonable in terms of what was expected of me. I think we're a lot more supported now as doctors. Definitely as a new doctor, you do feel like that. You feel like you've got such a heavy weight and burden on you. But compared to when Adam was practicing, I think there's a lot more of a team emphasis and support and exception reportings. So things, I think, are kind of changing. Along the way, I'll help you out with medical terminology. Unlike being a junior doctor, I won't just drop you in the deep end and expect you to know exactly what you're doing. That is pretty much what a new doctor feels like. You go from medical student to having no responsibility to the next day you're a junior doctor, an F1 on the ward, and you have got loads of responsibility. Especially on call. When I was on call, I remember in my FY1 year, so my first year as a new doctor, I was the only doctor covering the medical wards. So as someone with a bit of experience, that's fine, but as a brand new doctor, that is incredibly intimidating. So summary, yes, still relevant. Every doctor makes their career choice age 16, 2 years before they're legally allowed to text a photo of their own genitals. This is something that I say about medical school and university all the time, is that you need to decide on a career in medicine so early, and I think at that stage you don't really understand what it entails and the commitment that you're actually signing up for. The other take home from that is, does he want us to make these choices later, or does he want us to be able to text our genitals earlier? Personally, I don't remember medicine ever being an active career decision, more just the default setting for my life. I feel that completely. I always used to say this thing in my comedy set. I used to have this bit about Asian doctors saying that young Asian people are always one of 3 Ds. You're either a doctor, a dentist, or a disappointment to your parents. The ideal student is captain of 2 sports teams, the county swimming champion, leader of the youth orchestra, and editor of the school newspaper. It's basically a Miss Congeniality contest without the sash. I don't think this applies to me as captain of the tennis team, vice president of the debating team, coach of the badminton team, and grade 8 saxophonist, but I'm sure it probably does to some people. As you can imagine, learning every single aspect of the human body's anatomy and physiology, plus each possible way it can malfunction, is a fairly gargantuan undertaking. I can imagine, and I've definitely lived through it. What I would say though to people who are going to med school or people at med school is that you can't possibly expect to know all of it. Know the common things, and the rest of the stuff you'll just have to pick up as you go along. It came as quite a blow to discover that I'd spent a quarter of my life at medical school and it hadn't remotely prepared me for the Jekyll and Hyde existence of a house officer. So house officer is the old term for FY1. We've got a new grading system of doctors now. So house officer is FY1, senior house officer is anyone above FY1 before registrar. So at the moment that's FY2, CT or ST1, and CT or ST2, or IMT now. The names is changing and it's confusing for me as well. During the day, the job was manageable. It's mind-numbing and insanely time-consuming. You turn up every morning for the ward round where your whole team of doctors poodles past each of their patients. This hasn't really changed. This is the way that medicine works still, is that the day job is not too bad at all. The on-calls get ridiculously busy. The day job, like you're suggesting, is pretty much an admin job. You follow a consultant round on a ward round, they make a plan for a patient, and then you initiate that plan. But a lot of the stuff that you do along the way of initiating that plan is secretarial work. So make sure you've got a nice pen. You trail behind like a hypnotized duckling, your head cocked to one side in a caring manner, noting down every pronouncement from your seniors. Book an MRI, refer to rheumatology, arrange an ECG, and then you spend the rest of your working day completing these dozens, sometimes hundreds of tasks, filling in forms, and making phone calls. As I said, this hasn't changed. This is exactly what we do now. I just did 6 months in acute medicine and I pretty much was doing that every single day. I refer to rheumatology a lot. I didn't do many ECGs because the nursing staff tend to do the ECGs, but I reviewed a lot of ECGs. I did blood tests, I called relatives, I wrote in notes and that sort of thing. Hospitals have changed slightly in that at my hospital, all of the consultants will dictate their ward rounds now and they will get electronically typed up. So this is a new magical medical thing that they're doing now, but that doesn't happen everywhere. The nighttime SHO and registrar will be down in A&E reviewing patients and admitting patients while you're up in the wards sailing the ship alone. A ship that's enormous and on fire, and that no one has really taught you how to sail. That's a pretty accurate description of what it's like being a new FY1 doctor on the wards, because in the daytime there are so many doctors there covering the wards, but in the nighttime the numbers are dramatically reduced. So instead of having 5 doctors on several wards, you've got 1 doctor covering all of the wards. And so as you can imagine, it gets very busy. And as a young, inexperienced doctor, like a captain, you have to go down with that burning ship to learn your lesson. You're a one-man, mobile, essentially untrained A&E department getting drenched in bodily fluids, not even the fun kind. The number of bodily fluids I've had spilt on me are unreasonable, basically. I'm talking vomit, urine, blood, saliva, everything you can think has been spilt on me. I am not scared of anything. Reviewing an endless stream of worryingly sick patients who for 12 hours earlier had an entire team of doctors caring for them. It's sink or swim, and you have to learn how to swim because otherwise a ton of patients are going to sink with you. And to build that analogy, it's kind of like having those little floaty armbands to help you swim. Those floaty armbands represent medical school, and you jump in the water, think those armbands are going to help you swim, but actually you realize those armbands are filled with rocks and you're going to sink, as you were before, to the bottom of the pool. That was part 1 of reacting to This Is Gonna Hurt by Adam K. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and as always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so I'll make a series of this so you can check out the rest of the videos. Take care everyone, and stay safe.